Welcome everybody to the Lausitzring here in Germany. We have the grid clearing and we're about to go racing in a few minutes time for the second race of the weekend, the fourth round of the ADAC GT Masters Championship. We've got 28 cars lined up, Lamborghinis, Porsches, Mercedes, Audis, Corvettes, Nissans, all in action. Some fantastic GT cars. It's going to be a 1 hour race with a mandatory pit stop between 25 and 35 minutes into the race. Each of the cars, as you'd expect from GTs, has two drivers, which is either one of three categories: a pro driver, a semi-pro driver, or a non-pro driver. And they have two qualifying sessions during the course of a weekend. Qualifying 1 sets the grid for race 1. Qualifying 2, which happened this morning, sets the grid for race 2. Each driver does one of the two qualifying sessions, and it is the higher graded driver that's done the qualifying session for this race. And we had a very, very strong race yesterday, which was won by the Porsche 911 of Sven Muller and Robert Renauer. Sven Muller, the reigning Porsche Super Cup champion and German Porsche Carrera Cup champion, getting his first win in GT Masters by 1.5 seconds from Lukas Stolz and Luca Ludwig in the Zackspeed Mercedes. But there was a story to tell there. Before we get into that, though, let's introduce ourselves. My name's Chris Hartley, trackside here in what's becoming increasingly sunny and hot Germany. There is a lot of people here in the grandstands. It's absolutely packed out. It's a big motorsport festival. We have DTM racing this weekend, so it's great to see so many people here. Many of them going onto the grid to meet the drivers and see these wonderful cars, which, as you can see, are all lined up, ready to go. And alongside me in the commentary box is somebody who knows all about these cars as an endurance racer himself. I'll be racing next weekend, trying to defend his class title in the Nürburgring 24 Hours, a VLN champion, and somebody that's also raced in single-seaters and Porsches, Alex Tyrrell. Alex, welcome along to the second race. Race 1 yesterday was, as is ever the case in GT Masters, really good fun.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chris. Yeah, really good fun yesterday, like you said, and now we have amazing weather today. Sunglasses are on, caps also as well. We saw the fans really enjoying the weekend. Lots of people came here to Lausitzring to enjoy this ADAC GT Masters together with the DTM this festival. Yeah, I'm looking really forward for the race today. We saw already this morning in qualifying a big change in compared to yesterday in the grid, with positions and car which were yesterday in the back, more in the front. Some guys losing some BOP, some other racers getting extra weight in BOP. So I think we will see some an interesting race today.
That's right. Just to explain the BOP, the balance of performance. They try and equalise the cars as much as possible, don't they? So yesterday the Audis were struggling in qualifying. They only had one Audi in the top 10, and they've changed the weights to equalise things and added ballast to some cars. They can do that, or they can take ballast off other cars, and the Audis have been lightened by quite a lot for this race, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly. The Audis lost 10 kilos, or they took 10 kilos out of the Audi since yesterday. So we see now most of the Audis, strong Audis, pretty much in the front rows. Same a bit with the Lamborghinis. They gained some BOP. I cannot tell you exactly how much weight, but they also got some weight down. And also we will see drivers like, for example, the BMW from Philip and Ricky Collard. They also had 30 kilos in the race of yesterday because they won in Oschersleben in the race 2. Now they lose this 30 kilos, so I'm sure they also will show a strong performance during the race.
That's right, yeah, struggled a bit and picked up a drive-through penalty as well, didn't they? As did other teams, for either not pitting within the 10-minute window, and you have to be to the millisecond within that window, or some cases drivers and teams were coming in for less than the minimum amount of time, which is 65 seconds in most cases, unless you are swapping tyres. You can't change tyres in the race, in the pit stop. You can't refuel the cars either. You can swap tyres over from the far side to the near side. You can obviously swap tyres should the conditions change from wet to dries, or vice versa. That's not going to happen today because it's very, very hot. But in most cases, it's just coming in for a driver change. And as Alex has just said, in addition to equalising things in terms of the balance of performance, they also add to the top 3 from the previous race success ballast. So 30 kilograms if you win a race, 20 kilograms for second, and 15 kilograms for third. So Sven Muller and Robert Renauer, who won in the Porsche yesterday, going to have 30 kilograms extra to carry in this race. There's also different amounts of ballast added to the car depending on the combination of drivers. So a stronger pairing, for example, a pro and a semi-pro, would carry more ballast than two semi-pros that race together or two non-pros that race together, to try and keep things as equal as possible. They're the Le Mans style lineup for the cars. It was a Porsche that won yesterday. Porsche have had the best record here in the 21 races that we have now had in ADAC GT Masters at this circuit. They have won 8 of them. However, the Audis have come up with the situation that Alex has been explaining. Rather than one car in the top 10 in qualifying, which is what they had for qualifying 1, for qualifying 2, Audis fill 5 of the top 7 places on the grid. But it is a couple of Lamborghini Hurricanes on the front row as the cars go off into the formation lap. And just quickly to say about yesterday, the win was very close between the Porsche and the Mercedes. But Lucas Stoltz and Luca Ludwig were very, very unlucky yesterday, weren't they? They could well have won that race. But then something happened coming out of, well, they weren't coming out of the pits, they had yet to pit. But one of the Audis came out of the pits and speared into them.
Yeah, we had yesterday a really weird situation when Christopher Mies was coming out of the pit lane after his mandatory pit stops of change from Conor De Filippi to Christopher Mies, and at the same moment he was coming out of the pit lane, Lucas Stoltz was coming getting into corner 1, because the outside of the pit lane here, it's colliding with the entry of corner 2. Yeah. He lost a bit the rear of the car, Christopher Mies, and ran into the rear side of the left side of Lucas Stoltz, making him to spin. Not a big damage for both of them, but obviously he lost precious time that then in the end of the race he could not get it back compared to Robert Renauer and Sven Muller, who won the race.
Yeah, I think they lost about 10 seconds with the spin and onto the grass, and they only lost by 1.5 seconds. So that was slightly frustrating for them. The pairing that are on pole position for this race in the Lamborghini Huracan, the Grasser Racing Team entry of Marco Bortolotti, who's currently leading the Blancpain GT Endurance Championship, and his teammate Perez Campak, they are on pole position. They were 3rd in yesterday's race. So it's the driver that qualified that starts the race. You can see the grid there on the screen. Update of the championship points is that Robert Renauer and Sven Muller now lead with 46 points. Michael Amamola and Mathieu Hamenet have got 31 points and a second in the championship. And Daniel Karlovitz and Jules Guénon, who finished 3rd in the championship last year and won the race here, or one of the races here last year, they are 3rd in the championship in the Corvette. The Corvettes are quite a long way back in this qualifying session. So those two green Lamborghinis lead the way around. Marco Bortolotti, number 19, is the one on pole position. Christian Engelhardt, who had a win earlier today in the Porsche Carrera Cup Germany race with the Black Falcon team, is 2nd on the grid. Christopher Mies and Marcus Winkelhock are on row 2. Marcus in the Muka Motorsport entry and Christopher Mies in the Land Motorsport entry, getting ready to go for the start of this race. Red lights are on. It's the rolling start. 60 minutes of racing gets underway here at the Lausitzring as they charge thunder in towards turn 1. Bortolotti making a reasonable start. The Lamborghini under braking. He's caught up by everybody else, though. The Schnitzer BMW is coming charging
really
around the
good start
outside.
from Philippe.
Oh, brilliant start. He's gone 2nd, hasn't he?
He's 2nd. He was 7 on the race start, and he came from 7 down to 2nd.
Oh, but we got one pointing, I'm afraid, in the wrong direction, which
Sven
yesterday's
Muller.
winner. Yeah, yesterday's winner, Sven Muller in the 99 Porsche. Getting tagged, I think, on the way out of the first turn. And the other Lamborghini has, from the front row, dropped back to 4th place, hasn't it? So a bit of drama once again, as there was yesterday through the first couple of turns of the race. But what a start from Philippe Eng, the double Porsche Carrera Cup Germany champion, the former Porsche Super Cup champion. He's teamed up with Ricky Collard, the son, one of the 2 racing sons of Rob Collard, who races in the British Touring Car Championship with great success. He's the rookie in the championship, but Philippe Eng, a very experienced driver, the 2nd of the Lamborghinis, trying to get back into 3rd place, isn't it?
Yeah, we saw just Christopher Mies challenging with Christian Engelhardt, trying to get that 3rd place back when we have safety car situation at the moment.
Yeah. From heroes to zeros. The championship leaders as well, don't forget, as well as yesterday's winners. But it is not firing back up, and so the safety car is going to be ruled out. We had an early safety car yesterday because there were 2 or 3 incidents, and very, very frustrating for the team at Herbeth Motorsport. Although it fires back into life. Now, it doesn't look on the outside as if it's got too much damage, and he's still going to be on the lead lap, isn't he? He's going to be right at the back of the field, and I think we're in for an entertaining race now. If that car can be fully functioning, the Porsche, and can get onto the back of the group, then Sven Muller is going to charge through the field.
We have again also one more time saying, like yesterday, they start under investigation. So we'll see if we get some penalty afterwards. When we see now the replay of the start.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Yeah, Christian Engelhardt was too much diving to the. He needs to wait on the starting grid, on those grids till the lights goes off. Yeah, we see now Philippe Eng right on the outside, late on the brakes, getting the position back from P6 to P2. Amazing start.
See if we can see what happened to...
Yeah, we see the tap from the Mercedes from Auto Arena with Maxi Götz into the Porsche from Sven Müller.
2 or 3 abreast and not room for enough cars there, was that?
Yeah, 3 cars going in the same corner. World start from Philippe Eng.
Yeah, Bortolotti was a long way clear before they got to the braking zone, and they all bunched up after him, didn't they? So coming out the left-hander at turn 3 is where Sven Müller came to grief.
We see now from the camera from Michael Müller. Yeah, the Audi touched the Mercedes, was a change reaction.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just on the wrong end of that, wasn't he, Sven Müller? Got a tap and...
I think
and then around went the other Audi as well. So that was the 24 car spinning.
Kevin van der Linde was in the Audi number 3. He touched into the Mercedes from Maxi Götz, and this caused a reaction, and finally Sven Müller got the bad side of it. Here we saw the other accident. Oh yeah, they stopped. They also crashed into Markus Winkelholt in the KFC Tyler car from MX Motorsport.
Race gets back underway then at green flag conditions, and it is Mirko Bortolotti that leads. Philipp Enger, Lamborghini charging away. BMW running in second place, and then Christian Engelhardt rather trying to stay intact with the third place number 42 machine as they come charging through back onto the tri-oval banking here, and they turn immediately back off through the left-hander at turn 6 into this very quick right-hander at turn 7 now, which leads onto the short link straight. One of the drivers to watch might be Daniel Karlvitz here. Didn't qualify particularly well. The Corvettes were quick yesterday, and Daniel, say, a good record here. He and his teammate Jules Guénon finishing in 5th place yesterday, but work to do in the other Corvette of Hacklender and Barth is a long way down the field, only 24th spot on the grid after being pretty competitive in the race, particularly at the start of the race yesterday. There is number 77, Daniel Karlvitz, who is already up into the top 10. He started in 12th place. You see pushing as hard as he can, but you kind of have to follow your leader through the last sector, through turns 9, 10, 11 and 12. There's not really an opportunity to overtake. It's just about setting yourself up here, but that V8 Corvette has got plenty of ground in a straight line, and he should be able to pick up a toe and maybe challenge for position down into the braking zone for turn 1. This is definitely where we saw most of the action yesterday. The Lamborghini is twitching around under braking quite a bit and looking much more planted. It's Philipp Eng in the BMW. Third place coming through is Christopher Mies in the Audi. Good start for him as well, wasn't it, from 5th on the grid. Christian Engelhardt still can't find a way back ahead of him, having qualified on the front row. Engelhardt is in the 2nd of the green Lamborghinis there in 4th place. 5th at the end of the first lap of the restart is Kelvin van der Linde. He found a way past Maxi Götz. Maxi, the former double GT Masters champion, racing for the last 2 years in DTM. And this is how he did it. Kelvin van der Linde finding a gap where not many others have been able to get through. That was a nice move coming out of turn 12, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good move from Kelvin van der Linde, finding the gap into Maxi Götz. Where we see now Philipp Eng is giving everything to chase down Mirko Bortolotti and putting him into pressure. And I guess if we have a chance to overtake him, Philipp Eng will go for the lead of the race. Yeah,
Philipp Eng and Ricky Collard won one of the 2 races at Hockenheim, finished just about in the points in the other, and came here as championship leaders after the first weekend of the season, which was Oschersleben. But disappointing not to be in the points yesterday. They were carrying the success ballast, so they were struggling with the weight anyway, and they also had then a penalty applied to them when he might have got into the points. A little look down the inside from Philipp Eng in the white, blue and red Schnitzer BMW. Gets a good exit as well. He's all over the back of Bortolotti in the Lamborghini. Bortolotti has been winning loads of races this year. Won 4 on the spin in the Blancpain GT Endurance Championship, which is why he leads the standings in that. And did a very good job. Was very delighted as well, it seemed, at the end of the race with his podium finish yesterday. But through the infield, the Lamborghini seems to pull back away from the BMW.
Yeah, Lamborghini, the car it's pretty fast on the straight, but looks like Bortolotti's managing to get a better inside sector than Philipp Eng. We'll see also now I was developing during the laps also with the tires, as maybe some degradation appears with these warm temperatures. Then we see also at the moment Bortolotti lapping the fastest sector of the race in sector 2.
Yeah, took half a tenth out of the man that's pursuing him, Philip Eng, but Philip gets it back pretty quickly. Good on the brakes is Philip under the BMW. This is the BMW. That's Christopher Mies, reigning champion, with Conor De Filippi after victory in last year's championship. But again, a difficult day yesterday as Christopher came out of the pits and, as we described, slid into the side of the then race leaders. Lucas Stoltz was behind the wheel, was about to hand over to Luca Ludwig. Did well to keep the car from losing too much time. They still held on to second place after the pit stops, but were never able to get the lead back from the Porsche of Sven Muller and Robert Renauer.
We see also Christopher Haase putting that pressure into Marvin Kirchhofer, battling for P11 of the race.
That's right, Indy Dunting and Marvin Kirchhofer share that yellow and green number 48 Mercedes. Marvin Kirchhofer did the second stint yesterday, so he does the first stint today. Defended well, and they were on for a podium for a while, but he wasn't able to keep Bortolotti behind him. So it was a good battle for quite a few laps. And the teenager Kirchhofer, in the end, had to relent. Bortolotti got past him and was able to get the final place in the podium. But they did well to finish in 4th place. But again, a long way down the grid, that car, only 14th on the grid for this race. The yellow Mercedes that you are looking at for qualifying 1 yesterday. The car was second fastest. Into the pits, I'm afraid, comes Sven Muller in the Porsche. And he's angling the car to be pushed into the garage. So he tried, but it is going to go, I'm afraid, into retirement. 5-second pit stop penalty for car number 63 for an inaccurate grid position, which is Christian Engelhardt. So you were describing that the start was awkward, and he obviously wasn't lined up properly either, as...
See Christopher Haase putting again pressure into Kirchhofer. It's the repetition from before, this small loft tap. That's how we call it.
Yes, a little gentle kiss on the neck to just ease him through the corner and spur him on a bit. On board with Daniel Karvitz, the number 77 Corvette. You look back at him now from Michael Ammermuller. Michael in the Team 75 Bernard Porsche 911. So Corvette versus Porsche. Those two are squabbling over 7th and 8th positions. There they are. The Porsche just ahead. The Corvette looks quicker. And then coming after the pair of them, you have then got the number 25 Muka Motorsport entry, which is Frank Stippler, the very experienced Frank Stippler. Muka running Audis and Mercedes here this weekend, and that is their Audi entry. The pink car just behind, look, closing up for 9th place, and in 10th place is Patrick Niederhauser, the Aust Motorsport entry, car number 4. So another one of the Audis. So there's that battle. There is Frank Stippler, and young Mike David Ortman will get into the car for the second stint. There you can see how the gap has changed between these two, and he's now next to nothing. Looking back from the Porsche then at the Corvette, and he's close enough to pick up a toe here and maybe attack on the way into turn 1. The head of the field, there's still only 0.8 of a second between the Lamborghini and the BMW. Bit of a gap back then, and watch the Corvette pulling out, looking down the inside, not close enough to attack. Good coming out of the corner as well is Daniel Karvitz, who's former champion of the ADAC GT Masters Championship back in 2012. Driving Corvette for a long time now in the Callaway team. Great shots. He gets as close as he dares to the back of the Porsche. A little bit bumpy, isn't it, that final turn you've driven here, Alex? That last turn coming back onto the banking at turn 5. It's quite a big dip there.
Yeah, you have it's a bit down on the height. You go a little bit higher on this banking, and this produces a small bump in the apex of the corner, which unsettles the car. And it's a really important corner to go early on power, because you have a small straight afterwards, and it's a big overtaker, or an important overtaking point.
Christopher Mies has just set the fastest first sector of the race so far.
We have also the star accident with Kelvin van der Linde and Maxi Goetz, and unfortunately Sven Muller under investigation at the moment.
That's right, and a warning flag going to number 2, Christopher Haas in the Audi. So, looking back again from the Porsche, Corvette, for my money, looks a bit closer this time as they come out of turn 12 than it was on the previous lap. And he got close to trying to move last lap around. So here they are, nose to tail, just about to run past the shot. And out of the slipstream he pulls. He looks to the inside. But that Porsche is good on the brakes. And Michael Ammermuller, who's been busy this weekend because he's been racing twice in the Porsche Carrera Cup Germany as well, which he just missed out on a podium earlier on today. He was on for a podium, then through traffic as he tried to get second place He ended up losing his third spot, so finished a frustrating fourth. But he is second in the Porsche Carrera Cup. Michael Ammermuller, very strong driver. There he is in the Team 75 Bernard Porsche. Tighter line, a bit more grip there for the Corvette. All of them running on the Pirelli tyres. Very strong limits of the amount of tyres that they can use as well across the course of free practice, qualifying, and the race is just 3 sets to stop them splashing out loads and loads of money on new tyres all the time. Now, Daniel Kvyat's has got a problem here because he can't find a way past the Porsche, and that means that Frank Stippler in the Audi has now got onto his tail. So, oh, and here is a broken Audi coming into the pits. This is the
car for Marcus Winkelhock
car, yeah, which was able to limp on. That's Peter Mucker, the team boss. It's a local track, this, because the team is based in Berlin. But Marcus Winkelhock, one of the most successful and experienced GT drivers out there, ex-Formula 1 racer, of course, as well, and DTM racer, out early on. We saw him involved in one of those lap 1 incidents, but the car has not been able to continue. But yes, the problem for Daniel Kvyat now is that he's also got to keep an eye on the mirrors to some point, hasn't he?
Yeah, the old, as like we were saying, you need to look, when you're in such a position, you need to really look to the front because you want to overtake them, but also look a bit, take care of the rear, not that you are too focused on the driver in front and try to pass the driver which is in front of you, and then you end up losing a position because the driver behind you takes advantage of it. We also get now will be no further investigation or no further action in the accident at the start regarding Sven Müller.
Racing incident, yeah, it was just, as you say, it was a chain reaction, really. So, no consolation whatsoever, I'm afraid, to Sven. We mentioned Christopher Haas in the number 2 Land Motorsport Audi had a warning. They started 10 places lower down the grid, he and Jeffrey Schmidt, than they might have. They started back in the 7th row of the grid because they got a 10-place grid penalty for an incident that Jeffrey Schmidt was involved in yesterday. So he was given that penalty for, under the view of the officials, causing a collision. So they're trying to work their way through. They picked up a couple of places, but still back in 12th spot. There you can see the grandstand absolutely packed here, and it is a very, very tall, very large grandstand. So literally, it's no exaggeration to say, tens of thousands of people here watching this race this weekend.
But now tries the movement, Daniel Kvyat into Michael Ammermuller. He make the rooms tight as possible, but he made it. He got it done, and now Ammermuller will have to take care of Frank Stippler. Yeah, he closed the gaps, but now he lost the rhythm into Daniel Kvyat, and Kelvin van der Linde is taking the chance.
Yeah, the black and red Audi trying to get through as well. Kvyat is gone, look. He's left them already. Here's a replay then, and he was committed to the inside line, but it was a right-hander coming up, so he was still with work to do here, and he made that Corvette lean across to the inside, didn't he? And he just squeezed the Porsche onto the grass.
Yeah, really good. He prepared now the brakes outside, out in from the Porsche line into the inside, holding the Ammermuller. Beautiful camera shot.
And they like that
happy.
That's it. Schuganol, who's going to be going for the second stint.
Yeah, we see Mirko Bortolotti has been putting the hammer down and making 1 second gap to Philip Eng.
Yeah, Bortolotti, before he came into GT's, very quick single-seater racer. Finished as the champion in the Formula 2 Championship back 5 years ago, back in 2012. So it is Bortolotti leading in the number 19 Lamborghini. Philip Eng 1.1 seconds behind him now in the Schnitzer BMW. Third, the defending champion Christopher Mies in the Audi car number 1. And Christian Engelhardt, who has got a penalty for being out of position at the start. He's running in 4th place. 5th position is Kelvin van der Linde, former GT Masters champion in the South African in the number 3 Audi. 6th place is Maxi Götz, but then you've got up to 7th place now after the move we saw, the Callaway Corvette of Daniel Kvyat, number 77, Michael Ammermuller. Down to 8th place. 9th place is Frank Stippler, and still in 10th place is the number 4 Patrick Niederhauser Audi. So that's the top 10 as it stands. That's the only move inside the top 20 on that last couple of laps has been from Daniel Kvyat. Best lap, a 122.7 for Bortolotti, and he's just done a 122.9. A fraction quicker, nearly a 10th quicker on that lap was Philip Eng, so the gap's come down slightly to just over a second. There you can see the top four. There's a big gap back from these, though, isn't there? So it's Lamborghini, BMW, Audi, Lamborghini. Then you've got quite a big gap back to Kelvin van der Linde with his lights ablaze. He's going to be the next one to come into the left-hander at turn 1. And already it looks to me like Daniel Kvyat is homing in on Maximilian Götz. And that was Christopher Haas, number 2, trying to find a way into 11th place, putting the pressure on Marvin Kirchhofer and the yellow and green Mercedes. But only a glancing look, an exploratory view down the inside, never really committed to the move. So yes, on the last lap, Daniel Kvyat, now that he's free of Michael Ammermüller's Porsche, 122.8. Yes, he caught by half a second nearly Maximilian Götz. So Götz in 6th place. Very quickly, he's going to have the Corvette on his tail. Still this good battle going on between the Mercedes of Kirchhofer and that number 2, Christopher Haas Audi. That's for 11th and 12th positions there. Also, both of them trying to catch Niederhauser in 10th place. So very tight in and around 8th, 9th, 10th, down to about 12th, 13th. There is Daniel Kvyat then. Valvoline-sponsored Callaway competition car closing in on its next target. And there he is, Maximilian Götz just ahead. Maximilian back to the championship where he made a name for himself. So twice, 2 years in succession, he was the champion before he went off to race for Mercedes in the DTM. And now...
Really good run out of the corner for Daniel Kvyat.
He's going to have a chance.
Directly do it.
First chance of Asting. That's through. Nice move. Very good. Got a great run coming out. Got plenty of horsepower in a straight line, that car. Around about 600 horsepower for the Corvette. And nice move. That's always the best way to do it, isn't it? As soon as you catch somebody to get past, because the longer you spend behind them, following them round, the more they get into the rhythm and are able to defend. But that was straight through. First chance.
It was really easy, really flawless move. Straight he came, he chased down. We see, yeah, we just saw on the screen car number 21 under investigation. That's Luca Ludwig, and it has been related to this small tap with the Nissan GTR.
Those are the best moves, aren't they, where you don't lose any time, and he didn't seem to. So really good move from Daniel Kvyat to get through. Had a decent run to 5th place in the race yesterday, and picked up some decent points, which is why they've moved up the championship table. They were 6th before the weekend. One good race and one bad race in the season opener at Oschersleben, but have been on the podium. Picked up a 2nd place finish in the 2nd race at Oschersleben, and if they can get another top 5, top 6 finish here, it's going to keep them right in touch in the near the top of the championship table. As I say, they are currently 3rd behind Ammermüller and Hammerday, and that is the car they just passed as well. So they've taken points away at the moment from the team which is just above them, 2nd in the championship. Kirchhofer doing a good job here again, defending. Yesterday we saw him having to defend from the Lamborghini of Bertolotti, and this time he's having to defend, but doing so very nicely from the Audi.
Yeah, we're still watching this battle for the 11th positions since a few laps. And like you were saying, Christopher Haas didn't manage really to get a place where to overtake Marvin Kirchhofer, who is making the car as wide as possible and denying the position to Christopher.
That's right, yeah. And it doesn't look like he's under too much pressure really for most of the lap. There they are, still hanging on to the tail of that group of 3 which is just ahead. 10th place being still Niederhauser, who's only about a 2nd clear of them. So they're 11th and 12th. The background in 13th place is the Philipp Geipel Rahel Frey car. That got involved in an incident as well yesterday, but normally a quick driver pairing. Been together for a few years. Rahel Frey was in DTM for a time as well, and has been with the GT Masters Championship for a few years. They've been up there scoring podiums in the past as well, so strong pairing on their day and trying to get them into this battle inside the top 10. So there you can see 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th all within a couple of seconds of each other. Michael Ammermüller leading that train in 8th place. At the head of the field, the gap's growing, but only bit by bit. Bortolotti 1.5 seconds clear. So it's the less experienced, the less highly rated drivers that will get in for the 2nd stint. Philip Eng is going to hand over to Ricky Collard. who's new to this kind of racing. He's been brought onto the BMW Junior program, but very good single-seater career in his early days. Still a very young driver, but second in the British Formula 3 Championship, the BRDC British Formula 3 Championship last year, coming very close to winning it and getting a really good break with BMW, whom his dad Rob Collard, the British touring car racer and multiple race winner, has been associated for his entire BTCC career. He's racing this weekend at the fourth round of the BTCC. And there's Kirchhofer, who's actually starting to catch, I think, the group ahead now, isn't he?
Yeah, we'll see now the battle between Stippler and Ammermüller.
Good move. Said the odd move, haven't we, through turn 12, and he's going to lose another place because through will come as well Niederhauser in the Audi. So Ammermüller, because he had to get off the throttle and get out of the way of Stippler, that lost him another place and another position. So the Porsche going backwards at the moment, that will put him down to 9th place now. No, 10th place rather, so down to 10th, trying to hang on to some points here. It's got Kirchhofer coming after him as well, look, in the yellow and green Mercedes. Cars 20 and 21, both under investigation. I mentioned the Luka Ludwig one, the other one is the Nikola Rogivu car, the Zack Speed Mercedes, both the Zack Speed cars under investigation. Here's a replay of the move, and that was a tight move, that, wasn't it, through turn 12. It's quite hard to do.
No, I did. Frank Stippler saw the gap and he went definitely for it. He's been cut up behind McLaren for a few laps, so as soon as he saw the gap, he went for it. He didn't think it twice, and he made a brilliant move. Yeah,
hard but fair, wasn't it? I'm not sure there was any contact either. He came through pretty cleanly. But Ammermüller definitely was taken by surprise, and the split second he had to hesitate to get onto the throttle. That cost him acceleration. It cost him another place as Niederhauser came by as well. And look at this. He's going to get contact, and he's going to get another 2 places lost because through comes Kirchhofer, and following him through with Christopher Haas in the Audi. There he goes down the inside, and Michael Ammermüller struggling. And when he stays out, but he's got a puncture. And he's going to have to do a whole lap here with a left rear puncture. Didn't quite happen early enough for him to get into the pits, that, so he's got to limp around. It's been a very, very difficult race. There he is, ailing along. Kirchhofer saw the move from Stippler, thought, I'll try that, and he came through, but this time there was contact. And that resulting puncture means that Michael Ammermüller is going to have a very, very long lap here to get back to the pits and out of the top 10.
Yeah, exactly, Chris. We might have... I'm sure that this contact, the contact produced the puncture into Michael Ammermüller. When we see now also the pit window is open, so he had a long lap. They might stop, get the driver change, get Mathieu Jaminet in the car, and change that puncture tire. But like you were saying, it's going to be a really, really long line for Michael Ammermüller.
First one into the pits is the twin Busch Motorsports entry. Mark Busch going to hand over to Dennis Busch in the Audi R8. So that car comes in. A little bit further back, another Corvette making a move. We didn't see it, but it was number 13, which was the RWT Racing entry, which was challenging up in the top 6 early in yesterday's race with Sven
Christopher Mies defending from Christian Engelhardt.
Yeah, hugging the inside line. Engelhardt getting ever closer to him, but ruining the fact that he lost out off the start.
Oh.
Now the tyre is completely off the rim, isn't it, for Ammermüller? So the hub is dragging on the floor. Here's a replay. This is back from Ammermüller's Porsche, and this is Kirchhofer lunging for the inside. Contact, yeah. You can see why he tried the move, because he'd seen Stippler do it successfully. But look, he's all over the curbs to do it. There wasn't really the gap there, was there?
Might see if we don't get the incident under investigation. It was a fair overtake, but tight on the corner. And then we have the puncture from Ammermüller. Lost now the older tire. Probably some of the tire, because when you have a puncture, yeah, some of the tire gets still on the rim, gets stick on the rim. This is probably touching the bodywork. Yeah, we see now the tire is fully in. They might even struggle to get it out, and unfortunately.
It'll be a very long pit stop, yeah. For everybody else, it's a minimum pit stop time of 65 seconds. The number 2 Audi is going back out side by side as well between a couple of others. The number 7 Lamborghini and the second place car from yesterday, Luka Ludwig's Mercedes, coming out side by side. Finally back to the pits is Michael Ammermüller.
It's already parking the car even at the
Didn't quite get back, did he? Well, that's hugely frustrating. At least he got it off the racetrack, and we're not going to get a safety car as a result. And Kirchhofer comes past. I wonder if there was a little wave or gesture from Mikael Ammermuller as Kirchhofer came past. On board with Christian Engelhardt. He'll be handing over to Rolf Inneken, who is a former Class B amateur champion. As look at this, number 13, making it hard for Philipp Eng to come through and lap him. And that is the Corvette that I was mentioning that has been coming up the order, Maximilian Hackländer. So that means that the gap now is 2.5 seconds between Bortolotti and Philipp Eng. That will be very frustrating. So we've lost about a second with all of that. Christopher Mies in the number 1 Audi is running in 3rd place. Then there is Christian Engelhardt in the 2nd of the green Lamborghini Hurricanes just behind him. And his GT3 car pushing on. And into the pits goes Mies.
So we'll hand over to Conor De Filippi.
Kirchhofer's handed over successfully to Indy Donte, the Dutch driver, taking the number 48 Mercedes back out. Sticking to the pit lane speed limit. You can only have 2 people working on the car. There's only 1 air gun allowed as well per car. And the driver getting out is allowed to help strap in, buckle up the driver that's getting in. So that's what you're seeing there. Pirelli tyres staying on for everybody. And so the order will become slightly mixed up now for a little while, as some pit and others don't, but it's only a 10-minute window, and you have to be, as I say, within the thousandths of a second. You have to be in that 10 minutes, so you can't pit 35 minutes and a thousandth of a second into the race, otherwise that is outside the window. Likewise, you can't come in too early either, which has happened before. So out goes the car, now driven by Conor De Filippi. These are the pair that won the championship last year, hence the number 1 on the car. The American driver, there's somebody else that came up through the Porsche Carrera Cup at Germany. A very quick driver indeed. And that car should be flying as well. Looks like a decent pit stop for them. The number 4 car of Patrick Niederhauser, which was up in the top 10, has been in for a pit stop. So that's will now be driven by Dennis Marshall, who was racing last year in the Audi TT Cup with great success.
Just a black and white flag for car number 48. That's Marvin Kirchhofer, probably with the accident with Mikael Ammermuller. And also we have car number 7, which is the Team HB Racing, under investigation. The pink Lamborghini.
There is the yellow and green Mercedes, which was driven in the first stint by young German Marvin Kirchhofer. Indy Jonte now driving that machine, having just gone back out, the Dutchman, for the Team HTP Motorsport entry. And stuck behind the Audi at the moment, trying to find a way through. So the top 2 have still not come in, Bortolotti and Eng, nearly 3 seconds between them now. Christian Engelhardt has been promoted up to 3rd place for the time being. It's going to be critical to see where that number 63 Lamborghini comes out in relation to the car that it was right behind, the Audi, which was just in front of it all the way through. The first stint being driven by Christopher Haas. Jeffrey Schmidt now will be taking over the car, and you can see drivers focused and getting ready. That is Rolf Inneken, who's going to take over from the aforementioned Christian Engelhardt, both of them having done much of their racing in the Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland. And in comes Philipp Eng.
And Christian Engelhardt as well.
Yeah, so that's 2nd and 3rd coming in together. And
probably repair a little bit the front left side of Christian Engelhardt car. Some tape on.
And it gets Engelhardt, and gets Inneken. He was in the amateur class in the Porsche Carrera Cup as a Class B driver, but very often he was a long way clear of the other drivers within Porsche Carrera Cup for a few seasons, and was mixing it up with some of the higher rated drivers. So his good driver is Rolf. The tape's coming on now. Always makes me laugh. You've got hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of car, and it's always a bit of tape that keeps it together at the end of the day. In between them comes the number 66 Lamborghini, which is Emil Lindo handing over to Jonathan Dudek. So out go the cars that were second and fourth before the pit stops. Where is the 63 machine going to come out? Just passing it on the other side of the pit wall and about to go into turn one is the car that it was battling against. The Audi is going to be well clear. So they were more or less nose to tail, but the Audi is a long way clear, driven by number one Connor De Phillippi. It pitted a couple of laps earlier, and once it all settles down, that should be back to third place. And I reckon a lot closer to second than it was before as well.
Yeah, we just saw Christian Engelhardt and Rovinakin. This time Rovinakin on the car, they lost 5 seconds on the pit lane. Probably trying to repair the car or slow driver change.
Well, they had the penalty as well.
It's true.
Didn't they? Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Forgot that they had the penalty. So yeah,
for being out of position at the start. But I still think it was a good stop from the Audi team from Land Motorsport. We'll see when it pans out. But I'm pretty sure that Connor De Phillippi is going to be quite a bit closer to the top two than he was previously once it all settles down.
We have a drive-through penalty for the car number 7 for the pink Lamborghini of Marco Mappelli and Over Sidler.
So Jules Gagnon has taken over the leading Corvette in the race. The team looking to move up to second place in the championship, third in the championship coming into this race, but their closest rivals, Michael Ammermuller and Mathieu Haminet, are out of the race, and they're only 3 points clear. There were 31 points for the Porsche pairing and 28 points coming into this race for this pairing in the Corvette. And Robert Renard and Sven Muller, leading the championship, were out on the first lap of the race. So it's a really good opportunity here for this team to close up to the top of the championship table. They're certainly gunning for the title this year. As I say, Daniel's won it before. And they were pretty close as a pairing last year. Daniel won it in 2012, but with a different co-driver. He won 5 races that year. That was back in 2013 with Diego Alessi. But with Jules Gagnon, he's been coming close, and in are our race leaders. Bortolotti, another super stint from the Italian. He's going to hand over the race-leading Lamborghini then to the Argentinian driver, Ezequiel Perez Compac, who gets in now. And so it's going to be him versus Ricky Collard for the lead of the race. There is Ricky in the BMW run by Schnitzer Motorsport. And he is about to come into turn 12. Out is released the Lamborghini. So the Lamborghini is going, I think, to have a bigger lead, isn't it? So it's still trundling down the pit lane. Of course, it's got to stick to the pit lane speed limit. And there it is on the right. Next car over the start-finish line is the BMW. That was 2 seconds behind it before the pit stops. Out is released the Lamborghini. In comes the BMW, and the gap is going to grow. And, of course, you don't really have to worry about cold tyres because they keep the same tyres on the car that have already been used in the first part of the race. So I think the 2 second gap will have grown to 3 or 4 seconds by the time they come back around. But it is still the BMW in second place. And how much closer is the Audi in third? It was just in the back of the shot. We'll have to wait for everybody else to make that. There's Philippe Eng, who did such a brilliant job to go from 7th to 2nd at the start of the race in that BMW. Connor De Phillippi, he's trying to chase down Collard. He was only, 2.3 seconds behind. They're not first and second yet because others have yet to pit, although the pit window's closed now, so it's all going to change. I think Max Gotts was one of the last ones to pit. They picked up the lead very briefly. So there's the gap from first to second. About 4 seconds, that, isn't it? But look, that Audi's much, much closer. So they did have a good pit stop, didn't they, Land Motorsport? And Connor De Phillippi, we know he's a very quick driver. He's a more experienced sports car driver than Ricky Collard. So second place could be on the cards. And do you think Connor may be quick enough to go for the race win here?
Yeah, race win, I don't think so, but definitely he would put things hard to Ricky Collard. We need to see that everything stabilized for 2-3 laps, and then we can start to see the drivers, the sector times, when they start to do, and then the last lap when they start lapping continually, and then we can maybe check if it's any possibility to have a change in the lead positions.
You mentioned the drive-through penalty for the number 7 Lamborghini, the HB Racing Lamborghini of Marco Mappelli and Norbert Siedler, which did well from the back of the field to get up to 12th place yesterday. Also drive-through for number 21, Luca Stoltz and Luca Ludwig for overtaking under the safety car. That was the team that finished second in the race yesterday. Luca Ludwig, a former GT Masters champion as well, so very frustrating weekend. I got the second place finish. It probably should have been a win yesterday. But it's kind of been the tale of the season so far, really. Somebody has a good race, then the next race it all goes wrong. Of the 4 races that we've had so far, not many teams have had consistency. Even the Corvette pairing of Gunon and Karlwitz had one bad race in the opening round at Oschersleben. So you get the sense that this year, once again, it's going to be the team that can keep scoring points on a more consistent basis that is able to win the title. But every year since 2006, I think it is, or 2007, certainly for the last decade, championship has always gone down to the last round. So fantastic format that we have in the GT Masters Championship. So there is the number 48 Mercedes. It's settled down then. This is the order now that everybody's been in for that pit stop, that mandatory pit stop. The number 19 Lamborghini is still leading the way. It is now Perret compact behind the wheel, and it's 5.4 seconds clear. It was just over 2 seconds clear before. Then 42 is Ricky Collard in the BMW. Then in 3rd place is Conor De Filippi in the Audi car number 1, the reigning champion. 4th place, back down to 4th place because they carried an extra 5-second pit stop penalty, is Rolf Inneken. Christian Engelhardt drove the second of the Lamborghinis in the first stint, so the 63 Lamborghinis down to 4th place. Still in 5th place, it is Jules Gunon, and taken over from Daniel Karlwitz in the Corvette, run by Callaway Competition. 6th place is number 84, which was Maximilian Gotz, but he's now driven by Patrick Assenheimer. 7th place is number 3, Marcus Pommer, the ex-Formula 3 racer, racing as recently as 2015 in Formula 3. Has taken over from Kelvin van der Linde, so the German behind the wheel now. And also in the top 10 in 8th place we've got number 4, Dennis Marshall. In 9th place we've got number 25, which was Frank Stippler, and is now like David Ortman. And in 10th place we've got number 50, which is Rahal Frey, who's taken over. So that's the top 10 as it stands, and the car you're looking at there is in 11th place. That's Indy Dionte, trying to get into the points, trying to get into the top 10, trying to hunt down Rahal Frey, is now behind the wheel of the number 50 Audi. So Rahal Frey, a bit of defensive work to do here, the 31-year-old. First came into the GT Masters Championship, made a debut in the 2013 season, having raced in DTM for Audi in 2012, where she scored a best result of 7th place when they raced at Valencia in Spain. So we look back now to Jules Gunon, who is in the top Corvette in the race, and he is trying very, very hard to close up here to the Lamborghini, which gets a bit deep into the corner. Rolf Inneken is behind the wheel of the Lamborghini. That's the view back from his onboard camera. And Jules Gunon looks a little bit quicker at the moment than the German driver is pursuing. 4th and 5th place, 2 totally different types of car, but very evenly matched here. And after a poor qualifying session, they were only 12th, poor by their standards at least. Jules Gunon and Daniel Karlwitz are doing a good job. The Corvette has good race pace, doesn't it? But look at this for 2nd place, getting very close. So 2nd and 3rd nose to tail, and then 4th and 5th nose to tail as well.
Yeah, we just saw Conor De Filippi was lapping faster and faster than Ricky Collard in the last laps in pretty much every sector. So he managed to chase down the BMW, and now he will for sure manage to win the lap.
Get a super slow-mo now in the battle for 13th place. It's going to be a love tap, maybe. Number 6 Lamborghini, the black and yellow Lamborghini, is now Christopher Zindella, being sent wide, let's say, by the number 26 Stefan Muka driven Mercedes. Oh, Jules Gunon lunges down the inside of Rolf Inneken, runs out of road, has to wait for the Lamborghini to get back through, and loses time at the end of that. But it was a brave lunge, but it didn't quite work out. And the other move we saw was Stefan Muka, who hasn't raced here for over 10 years. Swap around, and we've now got the Audi up into 2nd place because Conor De Filippi has found a way past the BMW, Team Schnitzer BMW of Ricky Collard, who I have to say is doing a very good job then, considering this is only his 4th ever GT race. So there he is. A promising future, no doubt, awaits. If he's anything like as quick as Dad, he'll be just fine. So we're going to get a replay of how it happened.
I went a little bit wide. This gave the chance to Conor De Filippi to go into the inside of the first corner, I think.
Just slightly wide, wasn't it? Probably as a result of the pressure that had been coming. You've got to brake late to make sure you don't let them through, but you outbrake yourself fractionally and you go a bit wide and you lose time out of the corner. There has been, there will be a drive-through penalty for car number 22, MRS GT Racing Nissan. Remo Lips behind the wheel now, but it's for a pit lane infringement in terms of the pit stop time, so that may well be for a short pit stop time. It doesn't give you the exact, it tells you the reason, which is Article 39.1. That just tells you that it relates to the pit stop window, so it doesn't tell you whether they pitted outside of the window or they pitted too short, but I would suspect too short. Either way, it's going to be a drive-through for the Nissan. Just about 3/4 of the way into the race then, or we will be shortly. And Jürgen on. He lost a lot of time with that attempted pass, but he's starting bit by bit to catch back up to Rolf Ineken. But Rolf did a good job here in the Lamborghini. Again, he's new relatively to this type of racing. So this battle for 4th place. So at the moment it is Lamborghini leading from an Audi, a BMW in 3rd, a Lamborghini in 4th, Corvette in 5th place, and in 6th place a Mercedes. So it's pretty well equalised, isn't it? That's for sure. So last lap 123.7 for the race leader, 123.9 for Conor De Filippi. So he's actually falling back from the race leader rather than catching him, and the gap is nearly 8 seconds now from 1st to 2nd place. It's a long wait, look, before we see the next car. So you just saw 4th and 5th come through shot. That's the 6th place car of Patrick Assenheimer, which was earlier on driven by Max Goods. And definitely the Audi pulling well clear now of Collard, who's trying to hang on to a podium. He's already a race winner. First weekend he took a race win with Philip Eng, so as I say, doing a super job, the young Brit. But he's going to have to keep pushing here, because these two are pushing each other quicker and quicker. 4th and 5th. What are their times like compared to Collard? Collard 124.4 last time around, 123.8 for Ineken, as into the pits comes the Nissan to serve its drive-through penalty of Patrick Huysman. So that comes in and will go back out a long way down the field. So these two, even though they're racing hard, are actually a little bit quicker, 4 or 5 tenths of a second a lap quicker than the BMW of Collard in 3rd place.
Yeah, we're talking this Lausitzring is a really hard circuit, and you need to have experience of being driven here and being here before, around before, and probably Ricky Collard is struggling a bit to get that pace and get that rhythm and flow into the racetrack.
And what about the fitness required with a fairly long stints for these drivers? 25 to 35 minutes they're going to be driving for. It's I mean, walking around, it's pretty hot today. The air temperature is 25 degrees, the track temperature is over 36 degrees, but in the cockpit it's even hotter, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we already measure sometimes in the Porsche car and the cars I drive, we sometimes even arrive to 50-55 degrees inside the cockpit, and it's just, people think, yeah, do not have air condition, we have a small, oh, we see the juice going on, I'm some old power oversteer. But like I was saying, you have some air from the outside coming in, but no air condition, nothing, and it gets really hot and really warm. So yeah, fitness will play a big role. The point is it's only 25-30 minutes of driving, which is quite less, but when we are talking about an endurance race, it plays a big role how fit you are, and this also plays mentally, because you need to be, sometimes when you start to lose fitness performance, you also lose mentally concentration and focus on what you're doing.
So what's a typical training regime for you? What type of exercises do you concentrate on? Yeah,
mainly concentrate. We do a lot of cardio, and by that means many of the races we cycle a lot. We do a lot of cycling, or some of them like more running. But mainly all those main sports are really common between drivers. We see again the maneuver from Conor De Filippi into Ricky Collard.
You need good upper body strength as well.
And then we complement everything with some fitness in the gym. Some people likes to do more this new CrossFit exercise. Some goes for the old style machines and weightlifting, but depends a bit with who are you. Many of the drivers have a trainer. We already talked yesterday about my friend Radejukic, which is now with Land Motorsport, and some others go on its own and do the exercise. So it's a bit of a mixture. Depend on the driver, depend on what you like to do, but mainly are those you have strength. You have to strengthen the endurance with the cardio to have a good cardio, and then you also need some strength on your muscles that you get this by weightlifting or going to the gym or doing special exercise. Also, we saw in single-seater drivers, they used to, or when I was racing single-seater, we used to reinforce a lot the neck because of the G-force. Here in the GT is not so necessary. You don't have, the cars are a bit slower on the corner, straight on the straight line, faster on the straight line. Sorry, but it's slower on the corner, so the neck is not suffering really a lot. But you need also really good core, really good abs and back to hold to the seat.
And what about the mental concentration? Because you are 100% focused on every single corner of the race, and when you're doing 90 minutes or 2-hour stints, when you do 24-hour races, after a weekend of that and all the practice and the qualifying, how do you feel on a Sunday night, Monday morning? Does it drain you?
Yeah, I mean, you are pretty exhausted. When we're talking, for example, for a 24-hour race where you have to be 1.5 hours in the car, and you have to be many times also driving during the night, which is it's hard. You see the visibility, it's reduced less than 50% during the day. You see only your car when you have some problems for the Corvette.
That's got some leaky radiator, hasn't it?
Yeah, maybe some stone. Maybe he drove over the runoff area and got some stone, or he hit someone and broke the radiator. Like I was saying, yeah, you feel some tiredness on your mentally when you are after a weekend, and when you are especially in a race where you have been under pressure and you have to be focused on your line and get everything spot on, be precise. So it's not only the physical fitness, it's also the mental fitness. Yeah, we also train this. The best thing is to be on the car. We also always say the best training for us is to drive, yeah. Because then you get everything. You get the mental train, you get the fitness train, you get everything together. But we also can train this with several eye exercise or reaction exercise, or playing, for example, ping pong. It's a really good sport to play because you need some good reaction and mental focusness and look at the ball all the time really fast. And this is really similar to what we do in a race car.
No, right. That's fascinating to see how you cope with that side of things. It's a big part, as you say. So one Corvette out. Sven Barth we saw in the pits with a damaged leaky radiator, and the other Corvette though going well, 5th place. Closing down the championship leaders. They should move up to 2nd place in the championship. Jules Ganon in the 77 car there, the Corvette, and Daniel Carvet's did a very good first stint once again. Don't forget they were 12th on the grid, so good effort by both of them. And very close again to the 4th place Lamborghini of Rolf Ineken, who's defended really well. Had that one big lunge, did Jules Ganon, going into turn 1 a few laps ago. Went wrong, almost ran out of road, had to stand on the brakes, and then lost a couple of seconds, but he's reeled it back in now. I think he's probably too far back on this lap to have a proper dig down the inside, but he'll close up again under braking as they turn left, then right, and keep the power coming out of turn 3 as they accelerate out of there in these flowing corners, one into the other. The gap up the head of the field's come down a little bit over the last couple of laps, down to 6.2 seconds, but it is still the sister Lamborghini that leads the way.
Well, I think at this moment Ezequiel Perez is just managing his gap, don't trying to push too much, conserve those tires because of the warm temperature, and keep that gap between around 6 seconds between him and Conor De Filippi.
Yeah, Ezequiel Perez, the Argentinian driver, should be okay because there's only just under 9 minutes to go, and he's got a 6.2 second advantage over Conor De Filippi's number 1 at Audi. Number 42, Ricky Collard, is 2.5 seconds clear of this battle, so he's hanging on to the final podium place in the BMW. His last lap was a 123.8, which was actually comparable to the 2 you've been watching, so the gap's staying pretty steady. They're still stuck outside the points, trying to get into the top 10. The break into the points is the number 48 car, Indy Jonte, in the yellow XTP Motorsports, yellow and green XTP Motorsports. Mercedes actually fallen back now from Rahel Frey's pulling away in the Audi and being reeled in by the number 2 of Jeffrey Schmidt, which was involved in an incident in race 1, got a 10-place grid penalty for this race and is trying to work through from 14th on the grid, 7th row of the grid. Looking back again from Rolf Eniken's Lamborghini, there it is, and the car you were looking back at is the Callaway Competition Corvette. As they turn off through turn 6, back off the tri-oval banking, up towards this very, very quick right-hander now. Just holding it on the throttle here. It's a nice corner, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the best corners here on the racetrack. Really long right-hander. You have to have a really, really late apex. Actually, the apex is even after the inside curve is finished. We see, if we get another footage from the camera, we'll see all the cars running over the grass. This was the actual apex of the corner. This is really late because you need to carry the speed and the entry and then wait, and then cut the corner and go into the inside line really at the end. So it's pretty technical to do and pretty fast.
And then whipping out of turn 12, back onto the tri-oval banking here as well. Will be some traffic for the leaders to deal with. They see Ricky Collard in the BMW flashing his lights. How far clear is he? Is that gap coming down? 2.4 seconds. Collard, no, it's not. 1:23.9s really for both of them. There's a few hundreds in it. Collard was fractionally quicker. So he's keeping the gap steady, but having to concentrate. He could easily lose that time through traffic. So Collard still giving it maximum attention here to hold on to the final podium, get his second podium in only his 4th race.
Yeah, we have the nice battle between P8 and P12, P13 even, sorry. See now the movement from the Audi number 9.
It's, Christopher Hoher is driving it now. Ilya Earhart, the Turkish driver, drove the first stint. And that was for 14th place. Tidy move there down the inside of the number 6 Lamborghini of Florian Spengler. Oh. With rubbing on the way out there. Look at this.
Replay on the start.
That was what it was like. Back in the first turn, 3 and 4 abreast. Some nice slow-mos here. 5.5 minutes of the race to go. Heat haze off the track there, 30.7 degrees track temperature. But the tyres holding up. The pace has dropped off by about half a second a lap. 3/4 of a second a lap compared to the start of the race, but then again you have the lower graded drivers in for this part of the race, so the Pirelli tyres hold up very, very well indeed in this race.
Yeah, they are lasting really good. We see the guys in the front lapping around, would say around a second slower than the lap time did at the start of the race. When we see Ricky Collard is losing a little bit of rhythm in those last laps, and this is making able Robert in Eisen to get closer, and as well Jules Gunnar, which is chasing back Inaken since the start of their stint. So we'll see if we don't have a battle for the 3rd place, last spot on the podium in the last lap.
What's it like when you're in the position that Ricky Collard is in, where you are slightly concerned about the 2 catching you behind? Do you have to try to put it out of your mind and stop looking in the mirrors and just do what you're doing?
Push.
Give it 100%.
Push. That moment engineer will radio you and say, please push.
Slightly worrying though when you see the Lamborghini getting bigger and bigger in your mirrors, isn't it? I am pushing, but he's still catching me.
Yeah, exactly. No, you need to be really focused and forget about the car. I mean, with 4 minutes to go, you have to do a mistake and you have to be really slow that they get in your back. So the best thing is just push, do your own race, look forward, because you will lose even more time by looking on the mirrors than looking forward on the race. And we see now the battling for the 8th position. Marcus Pommer defending.
It's a good little scrap this is. 8th, Pommer's 7th. 8th place is the sister number 4, that's Audi, which is Dennis Marshall. Now the queue behind Dennis, which is 4 or 5 long, isn't it? So 9th place is the 25 Motorsports, Mike Ortman, Audi, and in 10th place is still Rahel Frey, but only 0.6 of a second clear of that yellow Mercedes, and 2 others behind as well, another Audi and another Mercedes, all trying to get themselves up into the points here. There is the number 2 Audi of Jeffrey Schmidt, another one that's come through the Porsche Carrera Cup, Deutschland, and the Swiss driver. Can he find a way through? Look at this, 6 of them, 7 of them together almost now. Pushing on, and here was Stefan Muka, usually experienced driver as well.
Oh, and we see a mistake from
Collard. Left the door open here. It's going to be on the wrong line going into the turn as well. This is for the final place on the podium. Rolf Winneken in the Lamborghini, wheel to wheel. Collard is trying his best to squeeze him on the way into the left-hander that comes up. He braves it around the outside. There's a right-hander coming up. It's going to have to go on the curbs, on the grass. The Lamborghini's got the left-hander below the better line. Through he comes, and Rolf Winneken is through. Collard down to 4th place, and look at Jules Gounon right behind them with the Corvette here. Nose to tail, 3rd, 4th and 5th, just 2 minutes of the race to go. Collard has lost out, gets on the throttle, tries not to lose too much traction. Up towards the left-hand hairpin they will come, but it is a Lamborghini through, and Rolf Winneken on the podium here. The team ultra pleased about that, and that was suddenly happened, didn't it, because it was about a second clear on the previous lap. And Collard did his very, very best to defend the position. He braved it around the outside. He certainly didn't make it easy, but it's down to 4th place now, and he's got to try, rather than perhaps trying to get the place back, he's also got to make sure he doesn't lose one to the Corvette.
Yeah, we need to see if we get a replay what's happened to Ricky Collard, because it was 1.5 second clear in the front, and all of a sudden he lost the time and had Inhagen on his back, on his tail. So something probably happened on the last sector, maybe overshoot the corner, lost the brakes, and unfortunately it is leading to the
he's lost a lot of pace,
overtaking maneuver, and he lost the last step on the podium. And looks like Jules Gounon will try also the same.
Gonna have to try the outside, though, isn't he?
Right on the outside, not this lap.
See how going deep into the corner and taking the tight line has actually compromised his exit, hasn't it, in the BMW, but there's no way through just yet for Jules Gounon.
This playing on the favor of Rolf Inhagen, which is now able to put a small gap and ensuring his last spot on the podium.
We're in the final minute of the race as well, so we're almost home and dry.
We'll get one more lap. We'll see now.
This is coming out of turn 12, but he'd already lost the time by then, hadn't he? He'd already got the Lamborghini with him.
Yeah. Somehow he lost maybe in the last 2-3 corners.
This was brave from Ricky, wasn't it, to try and stay around the outside, because he knew he'd have the better line for the right-hander, but then there's the left-hander immediately after in turn 3, and Rolf knew that eventually, if he stayed there, he'd have the better line coming out of the sequence.
And we see also Jules Gounon as a perfect spectator from the maneuver.
Almost through, wasn't he? Well, thrilling end to the race. The clock has ticked down to 0, though. And not much time left for Ricky to try and... Well, I don't think he's going to get his place back on the podium, because, as you say, Rolf Winneken has pulled away now. It's more about hanging on to points and this 4th place finish if he can. They come on to their final lap of the race. The race leader is still comfortably the Lamborghini of Ezequiel Perez, who is only 3.5 seconds clear, though, of Cotto de Felipe. So that gap has come down from 7 seconds to 3.5 in the last 5 or 10 minutes. But
there we see now Connor is almost the top guys, only in the front, the only one driving into the 23s.
Yeah, he's kept on pushing, but he's going to run out of time, isn't he? What about Jules Gounon, though? Can he find a way through to 4th place here on Ricky Collard Schnitzer BMW, which looks like he's struggling for grip at the moment? He's going to have to defend again here, isn't he, Ricky? But just about fends off, for the time being, the Corvette of Jules Gounon. This is for 4th and 5th place from the final lap of... It's been another fantastic and fascinating ADAC GT Masters race.
I think we have one more lap. Usually, so I think they cross, the first driver crossed the line before the 0-0, because usually it's one more lap after the time run off.
Plus 1 lap.
So we should be starting soon now, the last lap of the race.
Yeah, I think he must have just got through, mustn't he, before the time ticked down. We were looking at this battle for 4th place. He's been off in a world of his own, the leader. The gap's down to 2.3 seconds now.
Yeah, we start now the last lap of the race.
Last chance, probably, isn't it, for Jules Gonon coming into this next sequence of corners to get fourth place away. Ricky Collard knows it, defends the inside line doggedly. The BMW, what will it be like on the way out of the corner? He's deep into the corner, he's going on the curbs, on the grass, the Corvette goes through, up to fourth place, right at the end of the race. And that was really because Ricky took such a tight defensive line on the way into the corner, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, he took a really tight defense line, tried to break the same point. Grip is not the same there. He had no angle to turn on, to turn into the corner, and he ran really wide on the outside.
It's still a good result on the face of it. Fifth place. They started seventh.
I think we would have needed 3 more laps, and Conor De Filippi would have chased Ezequiel Perez compact. Oh, we have someone on the gravel.
That is Christopher Ho's Audi, I think it was, the number 9 car. Yes, which is dropping down, plummeting down the timings. So, yeah, of course, Perez will say he's just been controlling the pace here at the end of the race. But it is going to be a victory. It's going to be the 4th different winner as well that we've had in the 4 races this season. The checkered flag awaits then. It's going to be a victory for Lamborghini. Ezequiel Perez takes the checkered flag and wins here at the Lausitzring. Mirko Bortolotti, his teammate, driving the first stint. And the team absolutely delighted at Grasser Racing Team with the performance not just of one car but the other, because they got another one on the podium as well, with Rolf Winneken taking 3rd place there. So the reigning champion Conor De Filippi coming home in 2nd place, only 1.4 seconds behind the Lamborghini at the end of the race. So it was 19 coming home first for Grasser Motorsport, the Lamborghini of Bortolotti and Perez. 2nd place for the Audi number 1 car of the Motorplast by Land Motorsport entry, Conor De Filippi and Christopher Mies. Much better day than yesterday. And 3rd place, the 2nd of the Lamborghinis onto the podium, again for the Grasser Racing Team. Rolf Winneken, Christian Engelhardt, despite carrying a 5-second penalty for being out of position at the start of the race, they get on the podium. And a very strong drive for the Corvette pairing of Daniel Karvitz and Jules Gonon, who I think will move up to 2nd place in the championship standings now. They will close up to the championship leaders because neither of the top 2 scored points today. And 4th place, a very strong drive, with 5th place going to Philippe Heng and Ricky Collard. Philippe having the mega start from 7th to 2nd. Ricky, though, just couldn't quite hold on to a podium and dropped from 3rd to 5th in the last few laps. And having quite a quiet race compared to everybody else, but good points in 6th for the Mercedes Team HTP Motorsport entry of Maximilian Gotz and Patrick Assenheimer.
Yeah, really good race, really good last laps, with battling for the 3rd position between Ricky Collard, Rolf Winneken and Jules Gonon.
That Corvette was quick in the race, wasn't it? They didn't have a great qualifying session, but it was,
it was
both drivers pulling off good moves.
Yeah, he had a good pace from the middle on the race. He was chipping the time away and getting farther to the front.
With his back to the camera is Christian Engelhardt. 2nd win today. Is he winning the Porsches as well?
Yeah, 2 podiums for him today, so he will be happy.
More silverware for Christian Engelhardt. And there's his car coming in, number 1 on the LED. Rolf Winneken will be chuffed to bits with this. Did a great job. We consider he's essentially an AM driver. Very, very strong drive by Rolf Winneken. And took his chance when it came. Can't wait to get him out of the car, can they? So 3rd place for Winneken and Engelhardt. But that, their teammates, the winning entry. Bortolotti, great job. We saw how over the moon he was with 3rd place yesterday. Bortolotti, a winner this time. First to congratulate his teammate, Ezequiel Perez compact. There they are, the pair of them. Our race winners in the number 19 Lamborghini. 1.4 seconds clear, though. That was all it was in the end. The Audi pushing hard. Conor De Filippi gave it a really good go in the final quarter of the race to close the gap. He got it down from 7 seconds to just over 1 second in the end. But almost exactly the same gap that we had at the end of yesterday's race between the Porsche and the Mercedes.
They tune it up when they need it, and they tune it down when they don't need it. But anyway, good job, buddy. Good drive.
You see drivers chatting with each other in the Parc Fermé area before they get ready for the podiums. And so it's a Lamborghini, an Audi, and a Lamborghini top 3. Chevrolet Corvette in 4th place. a BMW, and then a Mercedes in 5th and 6th positions. There's Engelhardt, winner of the Porsches, winner of a trophy again here, in 3rd place in the race. And there's Rolf Inniken to the left of your picture, who did that move on Ricky Collard to get 3rd place right at the end of the race. A couple of laps to go. Ricky then falling back 1 more position behind Jules Gounon's Corvette on the very last lap of the race. Good there as well for the Monteplas team. And there, 1st and 3rd, all team members, all teammates. Bortolotti there to the left of the picture. It's having quite a good race season so far, isn't it? I think it's fair to say, in one championship or another. Proving to be one of Europe's top GT racers.
Yeah, the performance of the Lamborghinis are looking really good this year. Pretty much in all the GT3 championship, really strong car. They had in the past some fiability issues, but now it looks like it's solved, and they look really strong.
So in the first race at Oschersleben, we had Ammermuller and Hamane winning in their Porsche. The second race of the opening weekend was won by Ricky Collard and Philipp Eng in a BMW. Yesterday we had a Porsche winning with Robert Renauer and Sven Muller. And today we've had a Lamborghini winning with Ezequiel Perez Compact Jr. and Mirko Bortolotti. So 4 different winners and 4 different types of car taking the spoils each time. I think they've got the format of this GT Masters exactly right, haven't they? Because it is completely unpredictable who's going to win the race every time you come to a racetrack.
Yeah, we have really strong brands, really strong drivers, and at the end of the day, you see these different winners, 4 different winners in 4 races, different manufacturers winning. We had a BMW, for example, in Oschersleben, now Lamborghini, yesterday a Porsche.
And the next go to Spielberg, the Red Bull Ring, and that's followed by Zandvoort. 2 fantastic tracks coming out. They're going to love that, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Especially for Zandvoort, it's really challenging racetrack for a GT, up and down the hill, with banking corners, with off-camber corners.
It's a wonderful track, isn't it? On the Dutch coastline, proper high-speed, old-fashioned circuit, really, isn't it?
Yeah, really small.
Not too much runoff.
No.
Narrow circuit, big banks, scary corners. We like it. Then the Nürburgring, so it's not too bad, and the Sachsenring as well. I'm not been to the Sachsenring, but I heard great things about the Sachsenring, and then it's back to Hockenheim.
It's the only racetrack I've never been in Germany.
Yeah.
Never been in Sachsenring.
It's, again, a sort of old-school racetrack, but popular with the drivers, I think, yeah.
Close to here.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So then we wait for drivers to make their way up into the podium, our top 3 and our winning team as well. Great day for Lamborghini. And a great weekend for Bortolotti and Compact as well, because they were 3rd yesterday. So that's the only team this weekend to be on the podium twice. Might be the only team that's been on the podium twice all season, actually. I think they are, yeah. That's the first time somebody has got on the podium twice this year. And they did it in the same weekend. And decent comeback from Christopher Mies and Conor De Felipe, who was said at the start of the show they're involved in the real talking point of the race yesterday, where Christopher came out of the pits and just slid into the side of the race-leading car of Lucas Stoltz, the Mercedes, sent him into a spin, completely unintentional, but it potentially took a race victory away from the Mercedes pairing of Stoltz and Ludwig, and turned into a bit of a nightmare race for them, down in 18th place in the end. But coming back and getting a race victory, it's been a difficult start to the season for them. They started brightly enough in the first race at Oschersleben. They got onto the podium with a 3rd place finish, but just about scraped into the top 10 in race 2. No points yesterday, so plummeting down the table, all going a bit wrong, but they've come back with a strong 2nd place finish there. There's some super slow-mos of the Lamborghini Huracan. And Compact did a good job, didn't he? He was closed upon by Conor De Felipe.
Yeah, but just saw Conor De Felipe came 1.4 seconds behind Compact, so maybe a few laps more and we would have seen some some closer racing for P1.
Yeah, he was.
But we will never know.
No, he was about 3/4 to a second a lap quicker, wasn't he? But I suppose the race leaders didn't have to push too much. They always had that comfort zone. And there the crowds all the way around the banking there. They can see exactly where they turn off into turn 1. Sharp left-hander. And coming into the front of the TV picture, that's where they would carry on if they were using the old tri-oval here, which was built in 2017 years ago. So waiting for the drivers to make their way up onto the podium. 4 races done in the championship. Red Bull Ring next, Zandvoort, Nürburgring, Sachsenring and Hockenheim. So 4 races done, but there are still 10 rounds of the championship to come. And the way it's going this season, it's going to be yet another year in the ADAC GT Masters where it does go down to the very last race, or at least the very last weekend of the season. Very popular championship this, as you can see. Big motorsport festival, that's why there are so many people here. It's great access for the fans this weekend as well. Some of them coming onto the grid, many of them the fan terrace overlooking the pit lane. They've also got a pit garage which has been sectioned off with glass sides so they can see the teams working on the cars. And here come our race winners. Their arms around each other, triumphing to the team nearest to the camera is the driver that finished the race there to the left of you picture now from the wide shot. That is the Argentinian driver, Ezequiel Perez Compact. Luca Bortolotti alongside with him. And in second place, good comeback for the reigning champions, Conor De Filippi and Christopher Mies. The German driver, Mies, and the American driver, De Filippi. And second silverware of the day, having won the Porsche race for Christian Engelhardt, who is nearest to camera here, and walking just in front of him onto the third step of the podium, Rolf Ineken. Tremendous drive by Rolf to snatch the final place in the podium late on. And our winning team, and they also finished in third place, get a huge cheer as well. The GRT Grasser Racing team, who run the 2 Lamborghinis, first and third place for them today. So smiles all around, and we'll now get our winning team's national anthem. There, the Austrian national anthem playing out for the Grasser Racing team. It's a very international affair. It's an Austrian team with an Argentinian and an Italian driver. And there is a rather large piece of silverware. With his hands on it is Perez Compact, and there's one each. Thomas Burkhardt, the vice president, technical vice president of the ADAC, the organising, the governing body of German motorsport, is presenting the silverware. Manfred Voigt from ADAC now presents the second place trophies to De Filippi and Mies. De Filippi nearest the camera. The Audi onto the podium, and Bernd Barrig from the ADAC presenting our third place trophies. Rolf Ineken gets his first, and then it's Christian Engelhardt. Not a bad day at the office for Christian. The Austrian team with a 1-3 with the Lamborghinis, despite losing out on the start and despite the fact that they, as I said, carried a 5-second penalty. And from Union Glashütte, Adrian Bossart presents the prize to our winning team representative for Grasser Racing team, who gets the biggest cheer of all. Terrific couple of races here at the Lausitzring in front of what will probably be their biggest crowd of the year, so real crowd pleasers. And now it's the race for the champagne.
No pin photo.
No time for that. He's always got a smile on his face, hasn't he, Bertolotti?
I mean, if you are as usual as he's on the podium, I will have always a smile on my face,
to be fair, he's got much to smile about at the moment, hasn't he? Although it's more of a grimace at the moment because he's got a face full of champagne. You can't quite see what he's doing. It might be quite the party for the Grasser Racing team tonight. So a really good weekend in the ADAC GT Masters. They're probably now go off for some live interviews so the fans can hear from them. Now they are being told to pose for the photos. Trying to get racing drivers to do what they're told is quite hard sometimes, isn't it? So now they're all bunched together for the final photo. Top 3 teams, all 6 drivers trying to jostle each other off the top step of the podium. There's not much room up there. Don't injure yourself now, boys. And there, the moment where the winners lifted their trophies. Compact giving his a great old smacker, big old kiss for the trophy. And he's going to have to go down the local DIY shop and buy some more shelving, I think, Bertolotti, to fit all these trophies on when he gets back home that he's been winning this season. So leading the Blancpain GT Championship as well. So entertaining race. 1 or 2 incidents, but mainly good, clean racing. Quite hard racing at times. But that is the nature of the ADAC GT Championship. When I get to look back at some of the best bits as well from what's been a fantastic weekend here at the Lausitzring.